Bless and good evening. Thank you for joining us live on our show. I'm serving Apostle J. Raymond Megalos Mackey the first, pastor Tabernacle Joy Church, Uniondale, New York, and we're here tonight in our St. Um,
and the foods that we eat, the importance of the food that we eat, as well as um, uh, the process, what happens with the food that we eat. So now this evening we're going to talk about what is detoxification, why is it important, and what are the benefits of detoxing. First, we'd like to say that, well, he is a doctor, he's an OBGYN, but we're not we're not here to give medical advice. We strongly recommend that you consult your doctor and explain your goals to begin a detox regimen, should you wish to pursue it. So, detoxification is the process of cleansing and alkalizing the body. Detoxification is not a system of treatment or a way to remove symptoms. It is a system of curing by addressing the cause of disease. It involves understanding that the body is the healer and that energy is at the core of healing. It also sheds light on the true cause of disease, which is the destruction of energy. Energy, or the destruction of energy, results from what we eat, what we drink, the air that we breathe, our thoughts, our emotions, and what we apply to our skin that's absorbed through the skin. The body is made, as I mentioned earlier, trillions of cells, and we have two major fluids that run through the body. The blood, which provides nutrient and oxygen to the cells, and then the lymphatic system, which removes the cellular waste from our body. The lymphatic system is called the gigantic sewer system, and again, it's responsible for cleaning the trillions of cells in our bodies. When our lymph system is stagnated, our eliminative organs compromise, our cells become damaged. And as a result, our energy is blocked, and we experience sickness, pain, inflammation, what the medical doctors call disease. An acidic body chemistry causes hardening or clumping. An alkaline body chemistry is hydrating and healing and allows the cells to repair themselves. An alkaline body chemistry rids the body of acidity. The remedy for healing from every health issue lies in getting the lymphatic system moving. An acidic environment causes pain and inflammation or any sickness with itis. So, for instance, bronchitis or arthritis, which is all stemming from inflammation and acidity. The skin, the lungs, the kidneys, the lymphatic system, the gut, including the bowels and liver, all play a part in neutralizing toxins and eliminating waste.
So the important thing for us to recognize is that the lymphatic system is very important, and most people don't even know what the lymphatic system is. So, as Teresa said, it's basically like the sewer of our body. So, 20% of the makeup is blood, and 80% is the lymphatic system. But the lymphatic system over the years, from when we're children, the lymphatic system is accumulating all the different toxins. And because we're not eating the way we're supposed to, um, it's just a matter of time based off of how conscious you've been from an early age, that could help you keep the system more active longer. That all depends on your lifestyle. And what Teresa and I want to help everyone recognize is that um, it's all about changing your lifestyle. So detoxification is part of of what we're trying to do to help people help themselves heal. And it's really important because um, without changing your mindset, it's going to be very difficult for you to get to where Teresa and I would like you to get to, which is allowing your body to be restored and you being able to heal. And everyone is at different points. So people would say, well, how long is it going to take? Well, we have to look at each individual um, with a case by case basis, because some people have eaten all their lives much better than other people, and therefore they probably have more reserve. Teresa?
So, just to go back for a moment, so the blockages in energy causes disease, and some of the blockages are caused, as you mentioned, the food you eat, the air you breathe, the toxins in the air, the toxins that you put on your skin, and these toxins, I should say, causes obstructions, which are mucus, mucoid plaque, compacted bowel waste, acidity, parasites, and the toxins from chemicals. So when the body is overwhelmed with toxicity and its detoxification systems and organs are underperforming, toxins accumulate in fat and other body tissue. Um, some of the some of the common symptoms that uh, some of the common symptoms that it's visible that would tell you that it's time for you that you should do a detox is if you're constipated, weight gain, fatigue, chronic inflammation, body odor, brain fog, headaches, suppressed immune function, endocrine or reproductive dysfunction. So when embarking on a detox protocol, many people believe that, detox just includes cleaning your bowels, a colon cleanse, but that's not true. There are 6 areas of the body that you should focus on, and these are the eliminative pathways. So again, it's the lymphatic system, it's your kidneys, it's your liver, it's your blood, um, it's your lungs, and your colon.
So um, everyone experiences detox differently. Detox experiences and the length one should do a detox all varies with the current state of the individual. And as I said before, we have to take everybody's situation into account. So it won't be the same for everyone. Um, what we've noticed sometimes is that people seem to get worse when they're doing a detox. So they might not think that it's working, but actually it is, because that's a normal process. You get worse before you get better. Detoxification can be challenging for those who have had parts of their body removed. So, it's more difficult to expel lymph from the head if you've had your tonsils removed. It's harder to cleanse the colon if you had your appendix removed. So to expel lymphatic waste properly with one kidney, the respective kidney will be burdened. So true health and vitality experience when our physical, mental, emotional bodies are in balance. Each of these body parts impacts one another. They are all interconnected to the point that you experience all three as one expression. And not only does it affect you physically, but negative emotions, anger, rage, hate, jealousy, unhappiness, depression, despair can make the physical body sick and full of disease. And all of those things are prevalent in the world that we're living in today, which is full of all of those things. These emotions are stored in the kidney. They block proper pancreatic function and other glandular functions as well. Emotions can shut down our mind, affecting our ability to comprehend, think, and make rational decisions. So when? So when is the best time to detox? A detox can be done at any time. However, traditionally detoxing is done one each season and you should focus on fresh seasonal fruits. As Teresa said, the real reason fruits are so important is because they're electrical. The whole body is an electrical reaction. For us to move our arm or move our leg, an electrical reaction took place. For you to blink your eye, for you to sneeze, all of them are basically electrical reactions. So where does one begin? Eating according to how our body was designed is key. Humans are similar to monkeys, and they are fruit eaters. Our digestive system and our teeth structures are designed vastly different from meat-eating carnivores like lions and tigers, and grazing herbivores like cows. So our body requires um, electrically alive nutrients that come from fruits to rebuild and strengthen the body. Fruits are alkaline, astringent, and have the highest electromagnetic energy of all of the foods. Fruits do not require insulin from the pancreas to digest, which makes them the easiest food to digest.
And just to add to that point, a lot of people, when they go to the doctor and they're diagnosed with diabetes, the first thing the doctor will say is, okay, limit your fruit intake, right? But what the doctor should ask is, does your diet comprise of fruit? And oftentimes it does not, right? So, as Dr. Bryson just mentioned, insulin is not required to digest fruit. I'm sorry?
We don't need insulin for Mother Nature's food. We need insulin for all the processed foods that Mother Nature didn't make that you're putting into your body.
The complex sugars.
So we can take it one step further. The soil in our Western society is grossly depleted of the nutrients and minerals and ridden with chemicals causing our fruits and vegetables to be less adequate in their nutritional value. They're supposed to help us repair and rebuild the body. So we're stuck in a quandary today. The things that Mother Nature made are good for our body. But in this very sophisticated society, there's a lot of hybrids. And as Teresa talked and I talked about in some of our earlier conversations, which came first, the lemon or the lime? Now, you should ask yourself which one tastes better, and it will give you a clue as to which one is probably the man-made one. So the lime is what they use to create the lemon. So today, a lot of lemons don't have seeds. So I don't know if you pay attention. If you cut into your lemon, you might not find any seeds. And by definition, to be a fruit, you have to have a seed. So what is it that we're really eating? And what Teresa and I are alluding to everyone is that if it was in its state that it's supposed to be in, fruit is the best thing for our body. Unfortunately, we got to be careful because what you might think is fruit is a hybrid, which is GMO, man-made. If you look out in the supermarket, there's all these new variations of grapes. And I'll ask you one simple question. How many of them have seeds? So about the only grape that I can name off the top of my head that has seeds is the globe grape. All the rest of the grapes that you're eating, for the most part, they're seedless. They've even taken it to a higher level to stimulate the palate of us, to give us in the last 2 summers cotton candy grapes. Have you seen them? Cotton candy grapes. They're all over the supermarket. Everyone, if you're looking. In the summer, you can find them.
It says cotton candy.
They're
grape.
sweeter than candy, but it only
Sold in
makes
Whole
sense.
Foods.
It only makes sense. They made them for our palate. And we have to be really careful about what a man, not Mother Nature, makes for your palate.
And I just want to just mention that, nothing is by coincidence, right? So grapes are the most powerful detoxifiers in the body. However, grapes now, the seedless grapes, are not as potent. So you have to ask yourself, why were grapes targeted? Why are there hybrids created from grapes? Why are the grapes now seedless? Because grapes were, in its natural form with the seeds, was one of the most powerful detoxifiers.
And the best way that you can detoxify is with a monofruit. And the grape gives you everything that you need. It has tons of antioxidants, vitamin C, and all of the energy. And how do the fruits get the energy? What makes them grow? The sun. So that energy from the sun is into the fruit, and then we take that energy into our body. And as Teresa said, it's all about balancing this energy. And all the things that we do in modern society have gotten us away from energy. We don't go outside as much. We're trying to avoid being outside. Hence the big vitamin D problem. Where do you get it from? Sunlight. Now, of course, certain people are more prone to cancer, but that's certain people. So we all have to really just think about what is it that's going on in our world. And the one important thing that's going on is profit.
In addition to profit, I also think it's, a form of gradual genocide. So before,
You know why? Because they have convinced you from when you were a child with really excellent marketing for your addiction. They start you off as a child with beautiful colored cereals that with amazing commercial to match it so you can ask your parents for that. And what we found out is that 90% of the cereals have no nutritional value. And they're basically a form of candy and sugar in cereal form. And the big problem we have is with gluten. All of these cereals that America says is the best thing for you to eat for breakfast for years. The best thing you could eat for breakfast is fruit.
uh, genocide of food. I read an article about that some African women would not take this, what they wanted them to have, the seeds, those um, seeds that had been hybrid seeds, you know, and it's a big article, people, you know, on YouTube about them resisting to take it and plant it because it did not bear another seed. You know, once they planted what the that what is it, GMO?
There's been a
So-
lot of discussion on what you're
Yes,
saying.
the
Is
African
essentially if you use the hybrid seeds, it makes your soil, like what we started by saying, our soil is ruined
ruin,
from those GMO.
right? So
Seeds.
my question would be too, how much of our produce are coming from maybe another country our because everything we eat is not made here.
No,
So
it's regional. We get a
It's-
lot of our fruits from Mexico
Mhm.
and Central America.
Right.
But the problem is are they really a product of America? So is it an American farmer in Mexico controlling that food supply? So we know that the continent of Africa has a huge food supply, but we don't get any in America. And they have rich soil, full of nutrients. And in most of America's soil, if you plant all these GMO seeds, your soil is ruined.
And it's not by chance that Bill Gates is the largest owner of farmlands in America.
So the next biggest thing that we have to talk about is proper food combining aids in digestion is vital for good assimilation and absorption of nutrients. When we ingest food from our stomach begins to secrete an acid specific to that food type to break down the food for digestion and digestive tract. Um, the protein requires hydrochloric acid. So proteins like meat, they need a stronger acid. Starches require an enzyme called amylase, and fruits do not require stomach acid for digestion. As Teresa has mentioned before, the fruits are digested in less than an hour, really fast, because guess what? That's what we're supposed to eat. Something that has to stay in your system a long time. What's going to happen? And meat's a perfect example. How many hours does it take to digest meat?
Sometimes up to 72 hours.
So we heated everything up. Right?
Now you're walking around with fermented and like waste.
But that's what Teresa had said earlier is that you can tell when you need a detox because you can tell. Some people they go to the bathroom and you can walk in there after. And other people they go to the bathroom and you can't go in there for 10 minutes or longer. So that all speaks to how much of a detox, how long that person has been going through and what they're going through and how their body's functioning.
You have people walking around with years of waste in them.
So when the wrong food combinations are blended, the foods are ingested, the stomach begins to produce acid specific to those foods. However, these contradictory acid mixes produce a serious problem with assimilation, causing the food to ferment, as Teresa said and I said before. And it's hard to digest. It's hard to absorb. So it's not just digestion. If the system is clogged, you're not going to absorb. So now you have a problem breaking food down, and you have a problem absorbing. So the system is having problems in every way.
And this is important because we want to, get the most out of the foods that we eat, right? Get the nutrients. We want it to be able to absorb properly. So this is very important.
So things that we shouldn't do, but it's contrary to how we eat in America.
We've been taught.
So you should not be drinking after you eat your food. You were supposed to drink something before you eat. So if
Or 2 hours after a meal.
well, that you can eat it 2 hours, you can drink 2 hours after.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. What the real key is, we should be drinking a lot of water, because a lot of the other things that we're drinking, you think of all the juices, they're processed, and how they make them is from a concentrate using sugar and stretching the natural fruit. So most people consume so many calories in juice, but it's all a mindset because you're addicted. Everything that they make that's processed has additives that taste good for the tongue, but you can't have just 8 ounces of that juice. You just can't eat 2 potato chips. So if we all think about how once we open up that bag of potato chips, how much discipline does it take to stop with just one handful? And the same thing with juice. How many people can just drink 6 ounces or 8 ounces of juice? You know, a lot of times, even when you don't want your body, you walk away and the body says, you know what? I need more juice. And before you know it, you went back and poured yourself a little more. Even when you have discipline, because it's like it's what they do. They've designed, and you know the biggest joke is they give us poor food that tastes great. I mean, hot dogs are American life, part of our American lifestyle. Processed meats, and that is one of the biggest sellers out there. And when do we start eating those? When we're little. What do you want? A hot dog.
So, just touch on what Dr. Bryson was just saying, that our digestive system functions best when food is eaten one at a time. So, like, you would eat protein separately, you know, carbs and starches separately. And I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. And you don't combine food with your, fruits with your meal. Melons you should eat alone. So where do we begin? Starting your detox. I mean, first you want to, clear out all of the sugary, processed, nutrient-dense foods in your cupboards, and replace it with, living, wholesome, organic produce. Um, More fruits than vegetables when you're doing a detox. Fruits help to detoxify the body. Vegetables are builders, and it actually slows down the detox process.
So you can do a great job with detox. Just eating a great way, as Teresa said, one of the best fruits for detoxification is grapes, but they must have seeds. And,
Grapes and and melons, like any watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydew melons.
and it can be mono, just that one type of fruit. And you could even say you could do a day of watermelon or a day of grapes. And that's how you could do it. And to keep some variety, you could do a day of all the different fruits that you like. But that day, just eat that fruit. And you could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's really the best thing that you could do. And why fruits? Because to really do a good detox, you have to eat mostly raw. You're not supposed to cook them. And fruits give you everything that you need, as Teresa said, with detox. The vegetables are builders. The fruits help get everything out. What happens? You could wake up, you eat fruits, and where are you going to go? To the bathroom. What are we trying to do? Get you to eliminate some of the stuff that's in there. What are we trying to do? Heal the organs that have been damaged. What are we trying to do? Clear up the sewer system that's backed up.
Then is fasting is way of detoxing. Um,
In fact, it's one of the best ways that you could detox.
um, what is the length of the fast to detox the entire body?
Well, remember, as we said, each person's going to be different.
You're going to be different, but on
And
average,
no, because there's no average, because it depends on, I can say one person's perfectly healthy, they have no medical problems. Then another person who has to do who wants to fast for detoxification to heal, you might have to fast for 60 days, 40 days. You just think it all depends on different people. Dr. Sebi, he fasted for, I don't know, I think it was 60 or 90 days. He was diabetic, he was impotent, he had all those things. And when he finished his fast, all that was gone. And what did he do? He used herbs, he just used fruits, and he just fasted. In fact, he just used herbs. He didn't use fruits.
he also, I heard him say in the presentation to fast 40 days with just water.
Right. So there are many different types of fasts. There's
Yeah.
a dry fast. There's a water fast. There's fruit fast, just eating fruits.
Yeah.
Then you also have like an 80-20 fast where 80% of your diet is raw, living fruits, and then 20% is like mildly steamed vegetables.
Well, you know, a lot
So
of,
there,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, so there are many different, and again, like Dr. Bryson said, you have to customize it based on your health, what your goals are, what your current health, situation, your current health condition.
You might not be able to fast if you're diabetic in a certain kind of way. So you got to take every medical condition into
So,
consideration.
so if someone is gravely ill, we do not recommend, and that's why, when you're doing a detox, it should be done with guidance, right? If someone is gravely ill, you would not want to just throw them immediately into a detox. It's something that would be a gradual process.
And since there's so many ways to detox, I mean, if you think about it realistically, what you have to do is start small. So when you start detoxing, you should start with one day of fasting. If you want to fast, you have to practice it. It's not something you can't fast for 2 weeks if you never fasted. Oh, the reality is you have to start off with fasting for one day, then go to 2, 3, 4, and see what you can build up to. What I can tell everyone, having done it myself, is that the further you get from the first day, the easier it is for you to do longer and longer. So the threshold is going to be different for different people. But, when I've done my detoxes, if you get to 2 weeks, by that time, I don't even want meat. I don't, yeah, if you didn't eat it for 2 weeks, I'm not a vegetarian, but I could be one if I detox. Because the interesting thing about our body is it craves what it gets. And if you can prevent yourself from eating certain things, your body's not going to crave them as much. And that is just amazing.
But just back to your question, Bishop Mackey, like, a standard detox protocol for someone that, doesn't have any major health issues, I would say about 90 days. Because again, you are detoxifying and strengthening and rebuilding and repairing all of the eliminated organs and pathways, right? So again, that's the lymphatic system, that's the kidneys, that's the liver. You're also cleansing the blood and your lungs. So, that would take, it's a gradual process.
And the reason why it's going to take so long is because we're alluding to, you're getting toxins in every way. You're getting toxins when you take a shower with the water that you're using. You're getting toxins from the shampoo that you use, the conditioner that you use, the lotion that you use, the makeup that you use, the chapstick that you put on your lips, the lipstick that you put on your lips. Then you get to food. The foods have pesticides and other different chemicals that we can't even spell, that we can't pronounce. And it would make sense to me that if we wanted just some potato chips, it just means that we should slice a potato and put some oil and maybe some salt. But I ask all of you, read a potato chip bag and see how much other things that you can't pronounce are in your potato chip.
So, in addition to, being mindful of what you consume, um, we doing a detox, we also implement herbs. So, herbs, as we know, they're a gift from the universe. They're mentioned several times throughout the Bible. They've been used for thousands and thousands of years. They're safe. They're non-toxic. They're tissue specific, and they're highly nutritious and extremely effective. So, some of the herbs that we would recommend that addresses specific organs, tissues, like milk thistle for the liver, burdock root to cleanse the blood. Um, you have dandelion leaf and red clover for kidney support. Cleavers is great for, as well as red clover for lymph cleansing. You have black walnut and wormwood for parasite cleansing. You also have one that I use daily, trifala powder or Ascara sagrada for a colon cleanse. And then, of course, in addition to the foods that you eat, the implementation of the herbs, hydration is critical. It's key. So drinking a lot of water. Mhm. No, no, I said for the lymph system, but for eyes, eye bright is a great herb. It's called eye bright. Mhm.
So, in addition to diet and implementation of herbs, you have to have adequate hydration, you have to sweat, you have to exercise, you have to deep breathe, you should meditate, and you should watch how much you sleep because sleeping is very vital. The average person needs 7 to 9 hours in the busy American lifestyle. Do we get that? So, without proper rest and a balance in your life, which is hydration, the sweating, the exercise, the meditation, you're still out off balance. So there's other things that you could do, like tongue scraping. Your tongue has a lot of stuff. You see, they sell those things. You have to scrape it. Oil pulling, which is using coconut oil, switch it in your mouth for 20 minutes and spitting it out, and that will help. That's the best thing to help with the bacteria in your mouth. Enemas, dry skin brushing, which really helps to help with the lymphatic system. Saunas, sun. The sun is an amazing energy. Um, Practicing your breathing, making sure you're taking deep breaths. All of that supports the detoxification.
Really move to, but you put your feet in the water, they put your feet.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's another method of detoxification.
I was amazed when I first went there.
How much stuff came out. Right?
Where did you go? To the one in West Hempstead?
No, no, I didn't know it was one in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
There's one in
I
Queens
need that
too.
Information. They,
One by
they were
Ken.
in Merritt,
Okay.
and now there's a place in Garden City where they do a flush.
Mhm.
And it's like an enema. And it's supposed to clean even the walls of your colon. Have you heard that?
Yeah. Bit of hydrotherapy.
I'll look up.
Okay.
My brother sent me a text, and it's in Garden City,
Mm.
and it flushes your whole system.
So proper daily implementation of the highest quality organic and wild harvested herbs paired with a nutritious diet is the quickest and most effective road to optimal health. Our body will regenerate and heal itself when we stop doing what contributed to the illness and start cleansing and nourishing our bodies instead. It's that simple and extremely powerful. Ask yourself, either before a meal or when you're standing in a grocery store, ask yourself this one good question. is this food choice going to produce an acidic or an alkaline effect in my body? And if it's going to produce an acidic one, you should pass. If it's going to produce an alkaline one, you should consume it.
Is this going to heal me or harm me?
For me is cleansing concept. So they do defeat detoxification and then we do the other that I mentioned.
There's a lot, yeah, there's a lot out there. A lot out there, but all of it is trying to get our bodies back into balance. And they're all different forms of detoxification. And there's a lot out there that we can do. It's so interesting that we're all so trusting of taking pills that really just treat the symptoms. So when you really think about what's really going on, you could think of a tree where the branches are all the different diseases and problems, but the tree has a root, and everything that's up there has something to do with what's going on down there. And what we have to fix is what's going on in the roots if we really want to have optimal health.
And I just thought that this was really interesting to Dr. Bryson's point that I actually decided to list a few of them. And these are medical opinions on healing from doctors, medical professionals. So this was a quote from Dr. Herbert Lay, who was the former commissioner of the FDA. And this is what he had to say. The thing that bugs me is that the people think that the FDA is protecting them. It isn't. What the FDA is doing and what the public thinks it's doing are different as night and day. The FDA protects the big drug companies and are subsequently rewarded in using the government's police powers. They attack those who threaten the big drug companies.
And that's powerful.
And again, this is from, he's a doctor and he's the former commissioner of the FDA. The FDA who approves everything, including the COVID vaccine.
So then another famous person, Thomas Edison, said, the doctors of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition.
Here's another good one, and this is Hippocrates. He said, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
We see that all over, right? But do we apply it?
Right, but we covered, yeah.
Is that process stuff you all, that quote was mentioned to someone, let food be your medicine. And they say, yeah, but food can hurt you. But what they don't know, the food they're talking about
It's not food.
is
That's-
not food. So we have to this new generation we're talking to, we have to identify to them, because I came up with a garden in the backyard kind of thing. For this new generation, we have to identify, like you're doing right now, explaining what real food is. We have to make sure that they understand what.
And you alluded to something important. If you have it in your own backyard, you know what you're eating. But when you get it from someone else, how do you know what they did with it? So even if it's organic, what was the water supply that fed it? And even if it was organic, did they spray some pesticide on it? You know, to help the process? If you didn't grow it yourself, what did you get? How can you trace back where your fruits came from? Well, they say sometimes they do tell you where they come from. Some
Okay, but
foods.
then you trust what they tell you.
Well,
There you go.
right. So two things. One, you asked the question, so what is food? So food is electrical, it's nutrient, so it's electrical, energetic, nutrient rich, wholesome living. That would be the definition of food. So anything that, you know, grows on a tree, in the soil, seeds. So there are like 15 or 16 aisles in the supermarket that are boxed, frozen, cans. Those are not foods. Those are nutrient dense foods.
And you know
The-
what's so interesting is that even when you think that it could be healthy, if you didn't make it yourself, it's not necessarily. Even when they say, "Oh, this is better than that," you don't know how they made it. You know, they're making cookies, but you look at the cookies and the thing. Cookies are very simple to make. You can make them yourself. Doesn't take much effort or time. But we've become so accustomed to convenience that we think taking 30 minutes to whip up a batch of cookies that you made yourself, where you know every ingredient that went in there, minus the additives and preservatives and the flavor enhancers, which what we're really dealing with is a new world where everyone's too busy to prepare things yourself.
And we covered this in the last workshop. You know, the bread that, you know, our grandmothers used to make had 4 ingredients, right? And now, you know, the bread that it's like 22 plus, you know, ingredients to make that one loaf of bread.
Just add one more comment to that, and then we'll let Bishop Mackey wrap it up. Um, it's really interesting if you travel around that America is one of the few places where we find that there's a bakery for fresh bread anywhere. So, how many bakeries can you think of in your neighborhood where you can get fresh bread? But in Europe, you can find it almost everywhere. So, I'll leave you with that.
Watching us on Facebook, and they say, "Are there natural herbs to prevent cancer?"
I can answer that. Really, what it is that cancer, like everything else, um, comes from a body that's sickened and doesn't have and is basically clogged, like what we said. So if you can decrease that from forming, you can decrease your risk of getting cancer or any other disease. Is there something specific?
Right. So
Yeah.
right.
It's
That's
just-
that's
it's-
what
it's-
So you're saying that you have to constantly detox your body of the filth that you're taking in to prevent cancer?
and that
But-
would rid the body
Would help.
of
That would help.
disease. But are there herbs that can support the detoxifying process to help, you know, rid the body of these toxins? Yes. You know, there's-
Are you familiar with
there's-
psyllium husk?
Yeah. Mhm.
Now, that's a good detox.
Psyllium husk is very good for the gut. I'm sorry, the gut flora. Mhm. But
Well, what else is she? Go ahead. Listen, I met a doctor from Switzerland, and he recommended for his patients that he to detox. So while he was doing it, to use psyllium husk. He had a patient who hadn't eaten popcorn in 4 years. And when he went through the detox process and used the psyllium husk, popcorn kernel was in his street. And he hadn't eaten it for 4 years. Yeah. But you said, well, I'm going to wrap it up and I'll give you a final statement because it's almost.
You're done.
I want to recommend that you put a book together. Because you know what? I was sitting here and I was thinking, we have been programmed by two areas of our lives. One, our culture, and two, generations. We pass down our diet from one generation to the next, depending on what culture we grows up in. And that becomes now we've been programmed for generations. And so what's wrong, we feel is like, well, this is how we, this is what's been passed down to us. And so when you come in contact with the right way of how we should eat, sometimes it's challenging for some.
Right, absolutely, because
And
you'll hear
we're
some,
preaching the gospel too.
because you'll hear some people say, well, cancer runs in my family, a high blood pressure runs in my family. Not necessarily. What happens is the culture went from one generation to the next. Your lifestyle, way of eating, everything else. So naturally, you would have, the same symptoms or the same diseases to the family members that are, uh, eating those foods that cause the illness.
And I'll give you a good example. As I growing up as a child, we had our Sunday staple, and I'm from a Caribbean background, and we would have fried chicken with rice and beans, corn on the cob, sweet plantains, and that was it. No,
No electrical,
nothing electrical,
no electrical nutrients.
all starches. And then you wonder why there's diabetes in my family.
Right.
This is so good, and I want to thank everyone who joined us on Facebook, because different ones were sending me different comments and so forth, and expressing also how they were blessed by tonight's presentation. And for we want to thank you again. I'm going to dismiss, and if you have any questions or a few minutes after, you don't mind.
No, not at
Okay,
all.
but-
And if they wanted additional information, we do have a website. It's Holistic Wellness New York, spelled out NEWYORK.com.
That's good. This Wednesday night, if you want to give an offering, you can. I have ours prepared already. Let's dismiss. Father, we thank you for what we heard, and we thank you for that it's been heard here and throughout the country and even worldwide. Thank you for this vital information that all need, especially those who are in the body of Christ. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.